Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Vidovic from Vidovic Arts, and today we're going to be working on the Nazgul from Lord of the Rings. Now, if you ever want to catch one of my live streams where I work on these from scratch, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell, otherwise you might miss out on some of the fun that we're having here. Also, this is as close as I could look to a Nazgul, so I know they got like metal hands and a hood. I couldn't really cover my face up. Maybe one day I'll have a Nazgul costume, but until then, this is as good as it gets. Now, I actually modeled this for my girlfriend because she's an avid fan of, like, specifically Nazgul in Lord of the Rings. Like, she wants to cosplay as a Nazgul, which is a really odd thing because normally people would be like, oh, I want to cosplay as an elf or something like that. You know, something more feminine, not something that's like pure darkness and evil, but you know what, that's why I'm with her, because she's awesome. Anyway, I gave her the model and I forgot to film anything to do with it, but I did take some pictures. So I actually do have another Nazgul over on my Thingiverse if you've been following me from the start. Now, this Nazgul isn't actually mine per se, like I didn't model it from scratch. It was actually my first model that I wanted to print over on Thingiverse, so I looked it up and I realized that it's more of a game model, not made for 3D printing, basically. So it was not a solid mesh. It had like a hollow under. I don't even know how it would print. I don't even think that it would print at all. It just wouldn't register. So what I did was I changed that model around and made it printable for people, and I kept it as close to the original as I could. And I noticed that some people didn't like the fact that it looked low poly, and I personally didn't like it either, but I wanted to keep it as close to the original, just make it printable for people. So I thought, you know what, it's time that I make a really good looking Nazgul for people over on Thingiverse to print for themselves. And this is it. So I started off with the horse itself, which took a little longer than I'd like to admit, because I had previously made a horse from scratch, and I really wanted to recycle that horse, but I just couldn't find the file. So I made this guy from scratch. So I based it off a real horse's dimensions, so it's not Warhammer scale per se, but I think it looks really awesome once it was printed up. So I added some extra details like leather straps and the hair and whatnot, and then I went into the Nazgul himself. So this guy was more or less converted from one of those German soldiers that I previously made, and I changed him up a bit, and obviously he's got no head, he's just got a hood, and yeah, I just added details here and there, and it actually came together really easily. He's quite high poly, so he might take a little while to slice up in your slicing program that you use for 3D printing, but in Cura it took around maybe 20 seconds, which is a long time. all, I'm really happy with how he turned out. Now painting him, he's more or less just a black. I used black and I used some greys, like a very dark grey. I think it was Skaven Blight. And we worked up slowly the tones. I didn't record filming it because it took such a short amount of time to film it. All I did was a flat black undercoat, and then I painted the details, like the leather straps and the sword and grey. It was really, really quick. I think the longest part was doing the base, and that was it, and just adding dirt. And if you've ever done a base, you know what that's like. It's just a bit of a patience game. Now I'd really like to see how these turned out for you, printed and painted. So head over to Thingiverse and post your makes every time you make something. And you can do this for every single one of my models. I really love seeing your paint jobs, and it's kind of one of the main reasons I do this. So head over there and post your stuff. I'd love to see them. So a big thanks to my patrons over on Patreon who made this possible. Now if you want to support me further on this channel, head over there and pledge a couple dollars per video. It really inspires me to make bigger and better projects, and it also enables me to be able to afford materials to begin with. So that's that. Head over to Thingiverse, download this thing, and start printing. And hopefully I'll catch you around. See you guys. Good lads.